Okay. So we're gonna have a little bit of a stretchy class today. There is a new moon in Scorpio, so this is one of the more intense moons of the year. Um, I'll get into where all of the planets are. There's a lot of planets involved in this new moon, so we've got a lot to talk about today. So let's start. Start laying down on your back. Let's put a bend in our knees so our feet are on the edges of the mat. Knees are bent up towards the ceiling, shoulders and spine all flat down on the ground. With your knees bent, go ahead and walk your feet out wide and then let your knees come together right at center. Rest your hands down on your belly or on your lap. And just feel your body, feel the weight of your body resting down towards the ground. Take a few deep inhale, exhale combos to really help to get your mind and body in the same place. So today, the sun and moon are in Scorpio. They are together. That is a new moon when the sun and moon are the same degree. I believe it was at 4:47 this morning. It's when we don't see any light in the sky at all. It's the dark night. Last night was like the night that you plant the seed into the ground and there's nothing around it. There's no indication of any life, any promise, any hope, anything. And still, we know that that seed is going to sprout. We know that nature is going to take its course. Things are going to grow. Things are going to shift. Things are going to change. And while in the front of our minds, we might feel like we really want that. We really want to see change. We really want to see things be different. There's little parts of our brain, though, that are really, really threatened by something new, something different, something unknown. And that's just going to be a part of this new moon. The sun, the moon, and Mars are all opposite Uranus, which is the planet of change, unpredictable, rebellious energy. So come into that frame of mind of being the seed, surrounded by darkness, having to just believe in what seems like nothing. Start to rock your knees from side to side. We let them fall over to the right. We let them fall over to the left. And bring your knees back towards center. And let's pull them in towards your chest. We've got both knees in nice and close. Take a couple big circles with your knees around your hips, moving in a clockwise direction. And then go the other way, opposite roll. And back to center. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Clasp your hands around your right knee. Take your left leg out long on the ground. Now move this right knee just a couple inches, maybe 2 inches past your center line. Over towards the left shoulder, but nothing dramatic, nothing super taking you to the extreme. We want to be a little bit more subtle today. And from that subtlety, really just drop in to feel what is baseline without moving far to one side or far to the other side. We just want to get a sense of who we are at the very basic level, of what we feel at the very basic level. When we have that kind of knowing, that kind of connection to ourselves, then unpredictable change is a lot less intimidating. Take one more deep inhale, exhale right here. And then bring your right knee over towards your right shoulder. We're going to take a half happy baby on this side. Reach up, grab onto the bottom of your foot with your hand, pull your right knee down beside your rib cage, and allow your hip to open. Notice what you feel. Notice if you're like clenching in reaction to feeling, to sensation, and see if you can soften any of the edges, any of the corners, any of the tension. Recognizing what your baseline is to see if there's anything under that, to see if there's any way we can soften more, we can relax more, we can peel back layers more to get down to the essence of who and what we are and how we are. We don't have very many more days left of Scorpio season when the sun is in Scorpio. But this time of the year, from October 20th to about November 20th, is an intense time. It's when the themes that are prevalent come forward are a little bit more dark. There's more intensity, there's more like insecurity, there's more shedding in order for new things to surface, new things to populate the space. Let's move from this half happy baby into a reverse pigeon. So we'll cross our right ankle over our left knee, grab onto the back of your left thigh, draw inward with your legs, pulling them in towards your chest. Again, taking note of what you notice in your right hip. Just be curious. Is that baseline? Is that amped up a little bit, or is that subdued a little bit? And then how can you soften where you are? Softening where we are might not seem, it might feel a little counterproductive. The sun and moon are both in that intense Scorpio sign, and Mars is right next to them. Mars is the warrior. So that brings a little bit of a juxtaposition to this moon. It's generally soft and quiet, internal, but Mars gives it a little bit more energy, a little bit more heat, a little bit more fire and motivation. So we may feel more compelled to act on our feelings, do something about it. So we might see that in our body as we put ourselves in positions that feel intense. Our body may clench up in certain areas in response. So just watch, because if we do that with our body, we likely do that in other areas of our life as well. Now let's set this right leg down into a half triple diamond. Take your left leg out long. Bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Right knee points over to the right wall. Take your right arm up overhead, bringing the whole right side into a half triple diamond. And then just notice your right side, your right shoulder, the right side of your neck, your right rib cage, right pelvis, right leg, right foot. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then bend your knees, put your feet down on the ground. Move your knees side to side. Take your arms open wide. Take a couple of wiggles. Notice what you feel through your low back, around your pelvis. And then bring your knees back to neutral, to point to the ceiling. Take your right leg out long, and then bring your left knee in towards your chest. Hug it in close. And then cross your left knee just barely over your center line, just about 2 or 3 inches over center towards your right shoulder. These little subtle stretches can make a really powerful difference. They help to reset our SI joint, the sacroiliac joint down at the bottom of the spine. But we don't get there by trying really hard. We don't get there through effort. We get there by softening and relaxing and releasing. And I love that the new moon this time of the month asks us and gives us permission to do just that. To soften, to release, to surrender. And then we trust that there's power in what we're doing. We trust in the process. We trust in the steps. Take your focus back into your lungs, back to your breath. And feel that little flow ebb in and out. Take one more big breath in right here. Let it go. And then move your left knee over towards your left shoulder. Let's find a half happy baby on this side. Grabbing onto the bottom of your left foot, pulling your knee down beside your rib cage. And then drop your focus into your hip, into your pelvis. Notice what you feel. Notice your urge to do something about it, and then see if you can just not. See if you can just relax into the sensation. Trusting that the subtle approach, the effortless approach, is going to serve you really well right now. There's some type of power or some type of medicine for you to unlock through an attitude of effortlessness, an attitude of surrender. Just like there is power in the warrior that pursues, there is equal power in the warrior that observes. And I really think we need both of those parties, both of those traits. And that's what we get by following the moon. Take one more inhale, exhale here. And then move into a reverse pigeon. So we'll cross our left ankle over the right knee, and grab onto the right thigh. Draw your legs inward towards your body. Present to everything you feel the depths of sensation, the depths of emotion. The past 2 days, I don't know what's been going on. But we have literally lost power for like an hour in the evenings. And the first time it happened, I think it was Saturday. And I was like, huh, this is nice. This is perfect for the new moon. I'm literally powering down. We lit some candles and Charlie played guitar. And we just kind of sat and waited. And it was a perfect time for that to happen. It was like the power company consulted the moon placement. And sometimes we really have to force ourselves to do the powerless, to do the effortless, to do the surrender. If you are opposed to this end of the spectrum, just remember how important it is to breathe out. Let's release this into a half triple diamond. We'll take our right leg out long on the ground. Put your left foot on the inside of your right thigh. Knee points over to the left side. We'll take our left arm up into the posture as well. Just softening our body down. Getting away from strong effort. We will have time for effort and action over the next 2 weeks. But today, right now, let's really just drop into our quiet, our darkness, our internal world, our exhale. And pay reverence to the exhale almost. Take a big breath in. Take a big breath out. And bring your knees back in towards your chest. Take a couple rocks from one side over to the other. And then back to center. Take both of your feet up to the ceiling. Hold on to the back sides of your thighs. Take a few points and flexes, maybe some rotations with your ankles. Just find some movement and play into that discomfort a little bit. Play into the sensation a little bit. Practice being aware of intense sensation and relaxing instead of hardening. Awesome. Let's take a half or a full happy baby. Now we've done both sides, so let's do both of them at the same time. Knees by rib cage, feet pressing upward towards the ceiling. And then make sure your whole spine is down on the ground. We don't want our low back lifted up in the air. We want everything as flat as can be, even kind of bringing a tuck into the chin so we can lengthen up through the top part of our spine. After that, after you find your spine, if you want to be still, you can be still, or you can find a little rock from side to side. You can straighten out one leg at a time. You can play around a little bit. However you decide to hold yourself for the next few breaths, I encourage you to close your eyes and really take your focus inside. There's an element of Scorpio that asks us to face our fears head on. To stare into the depths of our soul, recognize where we feel insecure, recognize where we feel fear, recognize where we have these little stories that we've carried with us our whole lives, that shape how we view about ourselves, how we view who we are. And when we stare these things down, we get to choose if we let them influence us or if we don't. We get to choose whether we heal these parts of ourselves or whether we ignore them, put them on the back burner for later. Let's release our happy baby and come into a full triple diamond, both feet connecting, knees falling open to the sides of the room. Connect your pointer fingers and thumbs up over your head, or hands to hips, hand to heart, hand to belly, whatever feels right to you. If we never do any pruning, if we never do any cleaning up, cleaning out, releasing, it would be like letting our garden overgrow. It's really the pruning, the cutting back, the weeding out of things that makes room for new blooms, new plants, new flowers. And it can be really scary to prune things from our life because it feels like a death. It feels like a death. Sometimes we grieve losing things. But some things are they're better to lose than to carry along. It's better to prune that thing off, have a mini death, and then watch the rebirth happen. Watch the new blooms take over. Let's take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then point your knees back up to the ceiling. Let's bring our knees in towards our chest. Take a couple rocks and rolls. And we'll come all the way up to our seat. Awesome. So from your easy seated position, cross your legs, set your spine up nice and tall. Then lift your shoulders up to your ears as high as you can. Move them back and drop them down. Let's do that a couple more times. Lift them up towards the ears as high as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Move them back. Drop them down. One more time. Up, really dramatic. Get really into it. Squeeze those shoulders. Squeeze everything in your chest. And then move your shoulders back. Drop them down. Give them a little wiggle. Notice how good it feels to not be clenched. Good. Put your hands down on your knees and begin to move your head from side to side. Just easy little bobbles back and forth. Okay, next time your head falls to the right, stay still. Relax your arms, relax your shoulders. Keep your core engaged though. We want to keep our posture really, really strong. If you'd like to tiptoe your left fingertips away from your shoulder, feel free to do that. And then start to point your chin down towards your right hip bone. So we're just a very subtle, small rotation with the neck. We should feel different muscles being affected by this little change in our bodies. Good. Bring your eyes back to neutral. Drop your hands down to your knees. Take your head very gently side to side. Notice how it feels to move again after being still for a couple moments. And the next time your head is to the left, let it stay there. Let it be heavy. Let your arms be heavy. Your shoulders fall down from your ears. Now bring to mind that precious little seed that is planted in the ground. It just went through its first dark night being buried. For you, what is that seed? What do you want to see grow over the next 2 weeks? Rotate your chin so your chin points down to your left hip bone. Maybe what you'd like to see grow is more compassion within yourself. Maybe what you'd like to see grow is the quality of being unbothered by anyone around you. Maybe you want to see business grow. Maybe you want to see relaxation grow. Maybe you want to see your relationships grow. I don't know, but just start to think about the little seeds that you would like to see bloom in your life. Let's bring our eyes back to neutral. Take a couple gentle swivels with your head, dropping your chin towards your chest, in between moving your head from side to side. Awesome. Bring your eyes back up to neutral. Take your legs and switch them. So the back leg comes around to the front side. Let's bring our chest forward towards our legs and just make a couple half circles. So hopefully feeling this in the low back, around your hips, starting to soften and open. Good. Make your way back up to center and we'll twist. Take your right hand over to your left knee. Tall spine. Look back to that wall behind you. See if you can feel twist through your whole spine from the bottom all the way up between your shoulder blades. And switch sides. Bring your left hand over to your right knee. Lift your chest and spine up really tall. Look back over your right shoulder. Bring your gaze, your spine back to neutral, and then straighten out your legs. Take them out nice and long in front of you. With an inhale, stretch up from floor to ceiling, and then exhale, fold your chest forward over your legs. Relax, release, soften, really lean into surrender, really lean into letting go. And as you do that physically, think about some of the parts of you, your habits, your personality, whatever, that you could prune in order for those seeds to blossom even brighter, even bigger. Maybe there's a phrase that you say to yourself all the time, whether you do it on purpose or not, that you could get rid of. That's really not helping. It's not empowering. It's leaving a bad taste in your mouth, a bad taste in your mind. Maybe the habit of saying yes to every opportunity that presents itself. Just be curious. We're not judging. We're not hating ourselves for doing these things. We're just curious. If I pruned this back a little bit, would my other seeds grow? Would they have a better chance of turning into the plant that I'm hoping? On your next inhale, bring length into your spine. And then when you exhale, fold yourself maybe a little deeper forward. Walk your hands up your legs, bring your spine back up nice and tall. And then let's crawl over our legs. Let's find a tabletop position. So come onto your hands and knees. Place your hands below your shoulders and your knees below your hips. Take a couple rolls through cat and cow. Closing your eyes, taking your focus inside and just seeing what all there is that you can feel into. What all can you acknowledge within yourself? We have this amazing range where we can feel physical sensation. You can also really feel emotional and mental sensation, even though those things are not tangible. So there is a plethora of data to collect just from the confines of your skin. Let's bring our spine back down to neutral. Lower your forearms down to the ground. We're gonna take a plank pose from our forearms. So take your legs long behind you. Stack your shoulders right on top of your elbows. Focus your eyes between your hands and hold your body steady. Notice sensation that you feel. Notice thoughts that you can hear bouncing around inside your head. And slow and steady, lower your body down, lower your knees down. Let's put our forearms, our elbows down on the mat for Sphinx pose. Prop your shoulders on top of your elbows. Pull your chest forward like you want to put collarbone stamps on the wall ahead of you. And then just let your abdomen stretch. Let the front of your body lengthen. If you feel like you want more stretch, more sensation through your abdomen, you can press down into your palms. So your arms straighten out for seal pose. You can also just stay in your Sphinx pose if that feels best. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And slowly settle your body down. Bring your right cheek down to the mat. Put a bend in your knees and then let your feet move from side to side. Take your opposite cheek down to the ground. If it feels good to keep your knees bent and moving, then stay moving. If it feels better to soften, to relax your legs down to the ground and be still, then just be still. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then bring your chin to center. Take your hands back towards the wall behind you. We're going to lift up into a locust pose. So we're going to lift our chest. We're going to lift our legs. Imagine someone's behind you, grabbing your wrists and pulling your hands back towards that back wall. Hold steady for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Right cheek comes down. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Bring your chin back to center. Let's go again. Locust pose. Inhale, lift your body up off the ground. Imagine someone's pulling your wrists back towards that back wall. And then relax your body down. Left cheek finds the mat this time. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. One more time, chin back to center. You can do locust or you can do floor bow, grabbing onto your feet with your hands. No matter which pose you do, lift your body up nice and high. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax down to the ground. Take your feet long behind you. Bring your hands beside your chest. Let's roll through a couple cobras. We'll inhale, lift the chest up, and then exhale, lower the chest back down. Inhale, lift up, and then exhale back down. Last one. This time, exhale to downward facing dog. Take your hips up high. Take a couple petals. First down dog of the practice today. We won't do very many more at all. Press down into both of your heels. Walk your feet apart. And then take your hands back to your feet. Let's bring our spine up halfway. Interlace your hands by your tailbone and then fold, opening up the fronts of your shoulders, your chest. Give your head a little shake. Make sure it's nice and heavy. And release your hands down. Grab onto your elbows for ragdoll. Put a little bend in your knees. Soften your chest all the way down towards your thighs. Release your hands down to the ground. Walk your feet in so they're hips distance apart. And take a halfway lift with an inhale. Exhale to fold forward. Extended mountain pose. Root down, reach up for the ceiling. Big inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Walk your body to your downward facing dog. Hands come forward. Press into your palms. Press your chest back towards your thighs. And then lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Bring your heel towards your bum. Lift your knee upward towards the ceiling. Take a couple big circles with that right knee. Change the direction of your circles. Good. And then half pigeon. Pull this right leg forward. Set your hips down on the ground. And then slowly make your way forward. This is another one where the more that we can relax, the less effort we can bring to the table, the more that we get out of this posture. So just keep working through that in your mind. The less I try, the more I'll get, at least right now. Relax and soften. Allow yourself to access some of those deeper layers. Just deeper bands of muscle. Muscles that contracted in response to something outside of you and never really stopped contracting. Take a big breath in. Take a big breath out. And then slowly make your way back. Let's come into a tabletop. And take out one leg at a time, stretch it out, press back into your heel. Good. Then tuck your toes under, downward facing dog, lift your hips up high, press your chest back towards your thighs. Then lift up with your left leg, bring your left heel towards your bum, and try for a couple of big circles with your left knee around your left hip. Change the direction of the circles. And then pull that left leg through for a half pigeon. Set your hips down and slowly make your way forward, relaxing and releasing, undoing, kind of plunging into the depths of yourself, your body, your hips, your pelvis, but also the non-tangibles, our mental operations, our emotional body. It's all so connected that we can't possibly separate any one part or piece. They're all important pieces of the puzzle. So play with it, especially while you're in your body. I feel like that's the easiest way to access some of these parts of us. It's to start with the body, because that's something we can touch and feel. Remember that it's often emotions and often thought processes, internal words that activate these muscles that we have, that elevate our blood pressure, that elevate our cortisol and our adrenaline. And that's going from intangible to very tangible, very measurable. And take a breath in, take a breath out, and slowly make your way up. Lift your spine up, swing that back leg around. And let's see, let's come onto our backside again. So we're going to put our spine down on the ground, our shoulders down on the ground. And bring your knees in towards your chest. Then just drop your knees from one side to the other using core. So we're not going to let them come all the way down to the ground. This is just a very subtle core exercise, not being overly strenuous. Just kind of waking it up and reminding our core it has an important job to do today. It's got to hold us upright. One more dip to each side. And then back to center. Let's take our arms open wide. Cross your right leg over your left and drop your knees down to the left and then turn your eyes over to the right. Come back to that image of your garden, the little seeds that you've planted, goals and dreams and hopes that you have to sprout up in the next 2 weeks. Imagine their little roots unfolding from the tiny little seed. And then once again, just very lovingly through your imagination, begin to prune some of the other plants in your garden. Making space for the new seedlings to get their sunlight, to grow, to unfurl, to have access to everything that they need. Work your legs and spine back to neutral. Let's take it to the other side. Take your left leg over your right. Set your legs down to the right. Turn your eyes over to the left. As I imagine pruning areas in my own life, I imagine just like how Mother Nature looks at all of it. Like she's not unloving when she prunes us. God is not unloving when you know he gives us what we've been praying for, and it doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look like. The universe doesn't punish us that way. I don't buy it. I think it's all as loving as Mother Nature tending to her garden. Getting rid of the old, making room for the new. So try to be like Mother Nature in that sense, where the things that we prune, that we start to weed out in our lives, we can do it with love. We can do it with appreciation. We can do it with a prayer of gratitude and understanding that that thing did serve us somehow, some way. And while we're no longer in need of it, we appreciate what it's done in our lives, and we can send it back. Slowly move your way back towards center. And then get yourself ready for final relaxation today. If you'd like to put yourself in a certain shape, if you'd like a bolster, if you'd like a legs up the wall, take your time. Getting your body all ready to rest. This is the point of our practice, is to work through the postures to get to this rest point. This is where our body integrates everything that we've done. So once again, find this attitude of reverence and then settle in. Very, without a lot of focus, without a lot of specifics or details, I want you to just imagine watching your seeds grow. How beautiful it is for something to go to transform from like nothing into something. And we all do that in different ways in different parts of our lives. We think up ideas and then we bring them to reality. Even some of us even do the extreme sport of growing a child from nothing. It's all kind of that same energy. Sprouting, growing, unfurling. And it kind of just goes at its own rhythm. You can't rush nature. Nature moves at the perfect time, and you are nature. You are made up of the exact same things as everything outside. And so, your little seeds, your little dreams, your wishes, your hopes, your prayers, um, those will all unfurl in the perfect time, just like nature. It helps if we can be deliberate with when we are actively caring for our seeds, we're actively pursuing our goals, our dreams, whatever. And then we also do the pruning, we also do the resting and the recuperating. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Start to move your fingers and your toes. Take your arms up over your head. Take an inhale and stretch as long as you can. Oh, and then an exhale and relax as much as you can. And pull your knees in towards your chest. And roll your body up to a seated position. Bring your hands together at your heart. Relax your shoulders. Close your eyes. And once again, just bring to mind the power of the exhale, the power of the inhale, and how we need both. Imagine your seed sprouting, rooting as you breathe in, and then pruning and cleaning up as you breathe out. With all my love and all my gratitude, namaste.